Welcome to Chapter 3, Lesson 3, where we learn to draw elements of an illustration. So I need you all to come to File, Open, and then of course Business Handouts, Business Handouts, Shonifer, Computer Graphics, Illustrator, and Chapter 3. And then we are going to open our File 3-4. And we are going to learn how to just trace some objects using our pen tool efficiently. So once it opens up, the first thing we're going to do is go to our View function, and we're going to select our arm. We're going to go over just a couple of these traces in the video, and then you will be required to do some of them on your own so that you can use this file to complete work in the next lesson. So we want to verify that our fill color is none, and that our stroke color is black, so that we're only creating outlines for these objects. So now I want you to make sure that your pen tool is selected, and come to our arm, and we're going to start at point 1 by clicking, and then we're going to drag it over to our green star. So because we're starting on a curved point, we want to make sure that we're clicking and dragging. If we were to start on a straight point, we want to make sure that we're just clicking and then clicking on the next anchor that might be curved. So we're going to start by clicking on our first anchor and then dragging it out to our green star and releasing. And then coming to point 2, clicking and dragging to our green star, trying to line it up as best we can, releasing, click and drag, release, click and drag on number 4, and release once you have it about lined up, click and drag, release, click on 6, drag and release, and then what we can do is we could click on number 1 and click and drag, or the other option that we have is holding down the Alt key and allowing it to close our loop. But since our loop is not lining up, what we want to do is we want to click and then drag out again so that our line is going to match the completed one. So what we need to do now is hold, you'll notice our pen tool is no longer trying to create a line because we've closed the loop at this particular segment. So now we're going to draw on our hat band. So we need to come to our View function, come to Hat Band, and this is one where I'm going to show you how we click, and instead of clicking and dragging at a corner point, we want it to be straight. So we're going to come to 1 and we're just going to click, not click and drag. And then when we come to 2, we're going to click and drag to our green star because now we're starting to create those curves. And then we're going to come to 3 and do our click and drag, 4 and a click and drag. And then at 5, we're just going to click because that is a point now. So then we can come to 6, and then we're going to click and drag on item 6, and then we're going to come down to our 1 again and simply click to close the loop. Pretty simple processes here. So now we're going to do one where we have to remember to use that Alt key that changed the direction of our anchor point, that hidden key in our pen tool. So we're going to come to View and go to Nose, and we're going to do our nose, and you'll notice how we have to adjust that direction change. So let's start by clicking on 1 and then moving to 2, and we're going to click and drag to create that curve. Come to our 3, click and drag, drag the other way, and release, and then we're going to hold down Alt. Remember, drag that handle down to our red star so that we can change that direction. Release everything, and then come to 4, and then click and drag to try and trace the rest of that nose. And then we need to hold our Control key, go to our Selection tool, and then click off anywhere in the artboard to deselect that nose. So now we're going to talk about how to place a scanned image into our artboard. So the first thing we're going to do is go to View, and we're going to select Fit All in Artboard so that we can see all of the items that we're going to have to trace. Then we are going to go to File and Place, and under Chapter 3, where you should already be, if you're not, go ahead and go to Handouts, Business Handouts, Shonifer, Computer Graphics, Illustrator, and Chapter 3. And if you scroll down to the bottom, there's one called Snowball Sketch. And we are going to place that in our image. So how we do that is it pops up and we can drag it around. Let's just go ahead and put it in the middle of our image for now. And then we are going to scale it using our Scale tool by selecting Scale tool or S on our keyboard. And let's go ahead and double click that. And we're going to scale it to 115 and just hit OK because we do not want to make a copy. But then what I want you guys to do is click on your selection tool and move it out of your artboard and just have it in our sketch area to the side. And that is the way we're going to place images in our different artboards. So now what I want you to do on your own is zoom in by going to each of these views, and there are multiple views, making sure that we address every single one of them and that you trace all of these different components. When you're done, what it's going to look like is something similar to this, where we have our mitten traced, our nose, all of our face, everything is traced and ready to go, and we have our sketch out to the side. Once that's done, you're going to save it as file, or your last name, first name, Snowball Parts. And then we will be using this in our next lesson of lesson 4. So please complete this. Make sure that everything is traced and always ensuring that our fill is none and our stroke is black. Remembering that you click simply for straight lines and click and drag for curved lines. And if you need to change the direction, holding down that Alt key and changing that directional piece. So complete this and then continue on to lecture or lesson 4.